to Tree Whiz, where you get to test your knowledge of trees. Trees are fascinating and complex and misunderstood. There's a lot of misinformation on the web, even from well-intended organizations. I'm in Centennial Park in Poulsbo with Gayle Larson, Master Gardener, Certified Professional Horticulturist, and Poulsbo Tree Board Member, to debunk some myths and test your know-how.
Tree Whiz question 1. When pruning a tree, you should apply wound paint or sealer over the pruning cut. True or false? Gayle?
Just because sealer is still sold doesn't mean that it works or it's useful. Folks use it because they've been told that it'll help the tree recover from pruning cuts, but it actually slows down the process and can seal in moisture and disease-causing bacteria. Trees don't heal from cuts or wounds like we do. They recover by growing new bark over a wound or walling it off to keep out insects and pathogens from entering. So proper pruning techniques, then just letting the tree handle the rest without sealer is the right way to go. Saves you a buck too. False.
Tree Whiz question 2. English ivy is a noxious weed that damages and kills trees. True or false? The best way to save a tree like this from further damage is to pull as much of the ivy off the tree as possible.
First of all, English ivy is not a parasite. It's more of an unwanted, obnoxious piggyback rider, hanging on really tightly to the tree with these sticky little rootlets. But it's not actually damaging the tissue of the tree. Ivy causes damage by adding extra weight, by making the tree more susceptible to wind damage, and by covering up foliage that the tree needs for photosynthesis to feed itself. And that massive ivy traps moisture at the bark, encouraging disease and rot. So to remove ivy, don't just pull it off. Those little rootlets, they're tough, and if you pull those off, you risk taking some of the bark with them. So the answer is false. Cut off the vines at the ground, and again at about 4 feet high. Gently peel off the vines in between your cuts, and then dig out as much as you can around the tree. Eventually, the vines that are left on the tree above your cleared area will dry up and fall off. It's not a quick process, but with persistence, you can clear the stuff off of your trees.
Tree Whiz question 3. When digging the hole to plant a new tree, it's best to make the hole as deep as possible, even if you can't make the hole very wide. True or false?
False. Plant your tree with the trunk flare just at the soil line. This is a place at the base of the trunk where it gets a little wider and the first roots start. Shallower is better than too deep. Roots go wide to find air as well as water. Trees planted too deeply can suffer and die after a few years. When you buy a tree in a container or a burlap ball, be sure to pull the soil away from the trunk to check that it's not buried too deeply already. If it is, remove as much material as needed to expose that trunk flare. Your tree will thank you.
Tree Whiz question 4. When digging a hole to plant a new tree, refill the hole around the tree with fresh compost. True or false?
False again. A hole full of compost is like a lovely container underground, can constrict the roots. A strong supportive root structure will only develop if it can grow out into the native soil. So fill your hole with the same soil you removed and add a layer of mulch on top instead. If your soil needs amending, do it for the entire landscape area.
Tree Whiz question 5. True or false? If you live in Kitsap County, you can learn about planting, pruning, and caring for trees through classes with the Poulsbo Tree Board.
This one's true. Find classes on choosing, planting, and pruning trees. Fun tree walks to see beautiful and sometimes not so beautiful specimens. You can check out our page on the City of Poulsbo's Parks and Recreation website to find the significant trees of Poulsbo self-guided tour brochure, tree planting guide, and more.
How'd you score, BCAT viewers? Hope you enjoyed testing your knowledge with Gayle Larson from the Poulsbo Tree Board. I know I did.